Hello there, welcome to the news on Nepal television. I'm Rojina Rai, starting with the headlines first. Newly appointed ministers Birendra Prasad Mahato and Minister of State Pramila Kumar administered oath of office. Meeting of House of Representatives underway. MPs continue deliberations on government's policy and program. Joint meeting of Federal Parliament called for 4 p.m. Kathmandu District Attorney Office to file charge sheet on fake Bhutanese refugees scam today. Police custody of 16 arrested extended further period. Russia claims 70 attackers killed in cross-border Belgorod raid. Anti-Kremlin groups claim responsibility for attack on Russia territory. And host Nepal playing against India in first semi-final of the Kawa Women's Volleyball Women's Championship match to kick off at 3 p.m. Welcome back. Now we have the news in details. Newly appointed Minister Birendra Prasad Mahato and Minister of State Pramila Kumari took the oath of office today. President Ramchandra Paudel administered the oath of office and secrecy to Mahato at the President's office, Sital Niwas, this morning. Likewise, Prime Minister Pushpakamal Dahal administered the oath of office to Pramila Kumari. Mahato was appointed the Minister for Forest and Environment, and Pramila was designated the Minister of State for Education, Science and Technology on Tuesday. With this, a 25-member Council of Ministers has got a full say. The meeting of House of Representatives is underway. In the meeting, general session of the House, the parliamentarians are now giving their opinions on various topics of public concerns. The parliamentarians will also continue discussion on the government's policy and programs for the new fiscal year 2080-81 today as well. Meanwhile, a joint meeting of the Federal Parliament is being held today to discuss the draft report on the joint operation regulations of the Federal Parliament. The meeting has been scheduled for 4 p.m. at the Federal Parliament building in New Banesar. The District Attorney Office Kathmandu is set to file the cases in the court on fake Bhutanese refugees scam. An 8-member committee formed for the prosecution is preparing the charge sheet after studying the report submitted by the Nepal police on Monday. District Attorney and spokesperson of the Office of Kathmandu District Attorney Lakshman Upadhyaya Ghimira said the case should be registered by today, the 16th day. Rather 60th day of the arrest of the accused. The police on Monday had submitted its investigation report on the accusations of duping hundreds of Nepalese by promising them to send to the United States by making fake Bhutanese refugees. On the case, 16 individuals, including former ministers, government secretary, and others are in the police net. Superintendent of Police SP Sitaram Rizal said that 17 others are recommended to file cases naming them defendants in the scam. It is said that they will face a charge against treason, fraud and organized crime. Likewise, the police have recommended to write to the Department of Anti-Money Laundering and the Commission for the Investigation of Abuse of Authority CIA for further investigation on the accused. A total of 113 people have filed 22 complaints before the police, saying that 275 million rupees was defrauded from them. We still have more updates at the side. Stay with us. Time for a short break. Welcome back here on Nepal Television News. Now the remaining updates. Prime Minister Pushpakamal Dahal expressed on serving commitment of the government to protect the identity and the rights of the minority and marginalized communities. At a discussion with the delegation headed by Nepal Kumal Improvement Committee, Chairperson Tej Bahadur Kumal PM Dal said he was in favor of promoting the identity and protecting the rights of all minorities, including Kumal community. On the occasion, Prime Minister Dal recalled his struggle to bring all minorities and marginalized communities to the mainstream of state and expressed firm commitment of the government to the development, prosperity, welfare and issues of the communities at margin. The second session of the Karnali Provincial Assembly is taking place today. Tilak Pariyar, Chief of Karnali Province, has called for a meeting to be held today at 3 p.m. in accordance with Article 183 of the Constitution of Nepal. The meeting will discuss the policy and programs of Karnali Province government for the coming year 2080-81 BS, as well as its principles and objectives. Provincial Assembly Secretary Jivraj Burathuki stated that all Assembly members have been informed for today's meeting as per sub-rule Clause 3 of Karnali Provincial Assembly Rules 2079 BS. Now we have updates from international front line. Russia has said more than 70 attackers were killed in its operation to repel cross-border raiders who entered the country's Belgorod region from Ukraine and battled with Russian forces for an estimated 24 hours before retreating from Russian territory. Russia said it had deployed jets and artillery on Tuesday to destroy the armed groups that generated the border region in the most audacious attack on Russian territory since Moscow launched its invasion of Ukraine last year. Authorities said 13 people were injured by artillery and mortar fire during the fighting and that a woman died during evacuations on Monday. A second civilian was reported killed in the village of Kozinka. 9 border villages were evacuated during the fighting, according to Russian officials. We still have international headliners at the side. Stay with us. Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. Now the remaining updates. India and Australia have announced a new migration deal as they aim to strengthen their economic cooperation. The announcement came after Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi made his counterpart Anthony Albanese in Sydney on Wednesday. The deal aims to promote the two-way mobility of students, graduates, academic researchers and business people. They also discussed regional security amid rising tensions in the region. India and Australia are part of the 4-member Quad group, which also includes Japan and the US. France has banned domestic short-haul flights where train alternatives exist in a bid to cut carbon emissions. The law came into force 2 years after lawmakers had voted to end routes where the same journey could be made by train in under 2.5 hours. The ban all but rules out air travel between Paris and cities including Nantes, Lyon and Bordeaux, while connecting flights are unaffected. Critics have described the latest measures as symbolic bans, although the measures was included in a 2021 climate law and already applied in practice. Some airlines had asked the European Commission to investigate whether it was legal. Apple says it has struck a multi-billion-dollar deal with chip maker Broadcom to use more US-made parts. Under the multi-year agreement, the two US companies will develop components for 5G devices that will be designed and manufactured in America. Apple says the deal is part of a plan it announced in 2021 to invest $430 in the U.S. economy. The move comes as a trade war centered on the technology industry intensifies between Washington and Beijing. The long-running dispute has seen the U.S. impose a series of measures against China's chip-making industry and invest billions of dollars to boost America's semiconductor sector. To the more updates, before that, let's have a quick look into the highlights of the side. Time for sports now. Nepal is facing India today in the semi-final match of the Kava International Women's Volleyball Tournament. The match will kick off at 3 p.m. The group winners and runners-up will be decided by today's match between India and Nepal. India is in the top position in Group A with 6 points from 2 matches on Tuesday. Nepal had entered the semi-final by registering its second consecutive victory in the tournament against Bangladesh. With the win, Nepal has added 6 points in a Group A. Similarly, India defeated Kyrgyzstan 3-0 in a straight set to reach the semi-finals. India also has same 6 points as that of Nepal. With the defeat, Bangladesh and Kyrgyzstan are out of the group stage without a win in 2 matches. Although with Nepal, India, Bangladesh, Maldives, Sri Lanka, Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan and Kazakhstan are participating in the tournament organized by Nepal Volleyball Association with the support of National Sports Council. Chennai Super Kings are through to their 10th Indian Premier League final after beating defending champions Gujarat Titans in Qualifier 1. Opener Ruturaj Gaikwad top scored with a 60 from 44 balls as Chennai posted 172-7 after being put into bat. On a pitch growing increasingly difficult to bat, and Gujarat were all out of 157 with only Subman Gill 42 from 38 making a score of note. Gujarat go into qualify 2 while CSK advance to Sunday's final in Ahmedabad. With this, we come to the end of this news bulletin. But before we say goodbye, quick reminders of the headlines once again. National Assembly endorses government's policies and program. Proposed amendments rejected by majority. Meeting of the House of Representatives underway. MPs continued deliberations on government's policy and programs. Joint meeting of Federal Parliament called for 4 p.m. Kathmandu District Attorney Office to file charge sheet on fake Bhutanese refugees scam today. Police custody of 16 arrested extended further period. Russia claims 70 attackers killed in cross-border Belgorod raid. Anti-Kremlin groups claim responsibility for attack on Russia territory. And host Nepal playing against Nepal in first against India in first semi-final of the Kava Women's Volleyball Championship match to kick off at 3 p.m. Well, this is all we have for this moment. Until our next bulletin, have a good day ahead. Namaste.